Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Myra Ansari. We are going live to a press conference the mayor is having today, giving us an update on the Community Cares Campus, which is supposed to be a place where folks who are unhoused get help from the city. The mayor's talking about it today, and we're going to bring you this press conference that's happening live today at 221 East Breckenridge Street. And that is where this press conference is happening. They're supposed to be talking about an update again on the Community Care Campus. We've covered stories on this before. It's supposed to be a development near downtown Louisville that's going to be providing assistance to the city's homeless population. They are getting ready to start. I want to give you a live look at what it looks like right now. Several folks are going to be speaking today.
Well, good. Welcome to Smoketown. It's wonderful to be with you all here this morning. Thanks to all of our great friends and partners from across. Incredibly important, exciting, and announcement about progress. Welcome to the Community Care Campus. We announced the initial ideas and plans for this campus last January, less than a month after as mayor. And this is a groundbreaking and innovative approach to dealing with the challenges of homelessness, to ensuring that we have safe and healthy streets in Louisville for everyone. Across our city, across our Commonwealth, are experiencing homelessness. And among the people who are experiencing homelessness, a lot of them suffer from a variety of physical and mental health conditions. In fact, many of them need more than just shelter. They need medical care, what's called medical respite services, so they can recover from an injury or an illness, so they can then become healthy enough to take meaningful steps to keep improving their lives. So I want to first briefly thank our friends at Family Health Centers and the other local healthcare providers like U of L Health, Norton Healthcare, and so many others for the work they're already provide these important medical services to so many who are in need. Thank you to everyone in the medical community for providing this much needed physical and mental health services. Since last year, we have completely revamped our Homeless Services Division, which is now fully funded and fully staffed. Our administration is doing homeless outreach and encampment responses every day. We're paying our outreach workers a living wage to ensure and a stable workforce. We're reaching people within 1 day of a report coming in, over $1 million to our nonprofit partners in priority areas like shelter, inclement weather, and case management. We are making significant progress, but we have done a lot, and addressing homelessness is something that my administration will continue working on every day as long as I am mayor. And while we have made great strides with what we have done in the past year and a half, we still have a lot of work to do. But let me be clear. The streets of Louisville are in a much better place today than they were 18 months ago. They are and they are safer for everyone. And so I want to thank, before we talk about all the great work that is coming, I want to thank my colleagues throughout Louisville Metro government. I want to thank the folks in the Homeless Service Division, in Resilience and Community Services, in Public Works, at LMPD, Deputy Mayor George, Deputy Mayor James, and so many other people who are working every day to ensure we provide the support that individuals who are homeless are in need, to ensure that we're working to provide more shelter, and to ensure that we are working to make all of our streets. Thank you so much to these dedicated public servants. We have made great strides. There is still a lot of work to do. And the reality is that there is no one cause of homelessness. And similarly, there's not one solution either. And there's not one single entity that can self. But friends, we can solve this together through partnerships like we're announcing, resources, and hard work. We will solve this, one person at a time if we have to. We are going to remain hyper-focused on the challenges of homelessness, on ensuring that we have safe and healthy streets throughout all of Louisville. And that's why I'm so proud of this announcement here today, and so excited about the future, about this robust public-private partnership that is represented here today. There are a lot of people to thank. I want to first thank my colleagues. I saw Councilwoman Rui, I see Councilman Owen and others on the Metro Council for their support of the Community Care Campus and other programs that Louisville Metro government is offering to support people who are experiencing homelessness. I also want to give a tremendous thanks to everyone in the General Assembly, some of whom are here with us today, some of whom you're going to hear from today, so I'm going to circle back to them in a minute. But this project would not be happening without the strong relationship between Louisville and our state government, and in particular, our General Assembly, who sees needs in Louisville and has been responding to those needs with action and investment. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We're also going to hear from another amazing partner that we have on this project, and that is Volunteers of America, led by their president and CEO, Jennifer Hancock. The operating partner for the Community Care Campus. And we have seen across this city, we have seen in Manchester, Kentucky, we have seen in other parts of Kentucky, the positive, impactful work that Jennifer and her team at Volunteers of America make every day to improve lives of Kentuckians all across our state. And so we could not have a better partner than Jennifer and Volunteers of America to build and operate the Community Care Campus. Jennifer, we're so excited to be with you and your team today. All of us at Metro Council, in the General Assembly, Volunteer of America, and Louisville Metro government, we are all working together on this in partnership because we strongly believe in this vision for the Community Care Campus. And this vision came out of conversations from people across the entire city who know a lot about this issue. And these conversations helped us identify priority needs like family shelter, medical respite, and permanent supportive housing. Because even if we can't solve everything at once, these are areas where we can and will make meaningful, positive progress. So today, we're going to provide you on an update on the status of this project and make some exciting announcements about things that we're doing. First, I'm proud to announce that construction has officially begun on the Community Care Campus site. Our friends at Miranda have started work in the 3 buildings right behind or in front, depending on how you're sitting, right across the parking lot from us here today. And that's going to continue moving forward and increasing in the coming days and weeks. To start, we'll be renovating the building that will become the permanent family shelter for the campus next door. And Jennifer is going to be providing more information on all of this in a moment. Ultimately, traditional housing for young adults, a medical and behavioral health clinic, a community gathering space, an LMPD office and police activity league space, and VOA's headquarters with 75 employees right here on this site. Pleasure to make the first of many announcements that with the historic $100 million commitment of funds from the General Assembly that they made to invest in our downtown Louisville in the last session, that $22.5 million of those funds will be made available to fund the construction projects right here on the Community Care Campus. Served by the shelter and support that they get. It's going to be impactful investment for Smoketown, for downtown Louisville, but for all of Louisville and in turn, all of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And so I want to thank our friends from the General Assembly who are here with us today. President Stivers, thank you so much for your leadership, for your commitment to Louisville, for your focus on our city and our state, and your willingness to engage in conversation, to listen to ideas, and then deliver in the General Assembly. Thank you so much. Thank you to Senator Neal. Thank you, Senator, for your representation of this district, who's we're in today in Senator Neal's district. Thank you for your advocacy of issues that are so important to all of us here in Louisville, for not being shy in Frankfort about expressing your views and working with us on impactful projects like this. You are a great friend, and we thank you very much for your leadership. Representative Rudy wins the award for traveling the furthest to be with us here today from Western Kentucky. But this is a great example of what this project is all about partnerships, about the similarities that cities like Louisville have with other cities like Paducah and elsewhere in our state. While our cities might be of different sizes, a lot of our cities share common issues. And this is going to be an innovative model that we're piloting here in Louisville, and that might be very applicable in districts like Representative Rudy's or others across the Commonwealth to address these issues. So Representative Rudy, thank you for being here. We look forward to hearing from you shortly. And finally, for our South Bend champion, Representative Rachel Rourke, who also has been such a strong advocate for addressing issues of homelessness, for supporting House Bill 1 that made this funding available. We appreciate what you are doing for all of our city, and we're excited to work with you and have you here with us here today. So first, yes, please, for Rachel. So before we get to our friends from the General Assembly, I'd like to first introduce the leader of Volunteers of America, who has been working so closely with so many of us at Louisville Metro government to make this project a reality, on top of everything else that VOA is doing every day to improve lives of Kentuckians all across our state. We are so excited to partner with Volunteers of America. We are so excited to partner with their president and CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Jennifer Hancock.
Thank you so much, Mayor Greenberg, and good morning, everyone. About a year ago, Volunteers of America responded to an RFP from Louisville Metro government regarding the new community care campus. And after submitting our proposal to add a new family shelter and affordable housing project, we were honored to be asked to manage this entire campus. You know, Volunteers of America provides integrated care throughout our community, from affordable housing to behavioral health services for some of the most vulnerable in our community. And we've been doing so now for more than 127 years. And like all of you, every day we see how homelessness has increased on our city streets, and the need for more housing services has become even more urgent. My colleagues and I are ready and eager to address this challenge and opportunity for our city head on by managing the C3. For the past several months, Louisville Metro government, Louisville Metro Police Department, Norton Healthcare, U of L Health, Family Health Centers, Feed Louisville, YMCA Safe Place, the Coalition for the Homeless, and Miranda Construction have been working hard along with my colleagues to bring these much needed services to life. We've developed a master plan for this campus, which we released to the public earlier this spring. And our summer was spent developing the plans for the first phase of the construction project, necessary abatement, demolition, and renovation, and the start of construction on the Unity House Family Emergency Shelter. So today, I am so pleased to announce that we've started that abatement process, as you heard the mayor describe, on several of the buildings on campus, and demolition begins next week. Towards the entrance of this room are 4 floor plan designs, they're back over here, created in partnership with Miranda Construction, detailing the design of our brand new Unity House Family Shelter. This facility, modeled after the family emergency shelter that we've successfully provided to the community this year, our 40-year anniversary, will be able to accommodate another 29 to 30 families facing a housing crisis. This will essentially put an end to family homelessness in our community. Let's think about that for a moment. What that means, yes, thank you. Let's think about what that means in terms of the impact to these most vulnerable families who will have a safe and stable place to stay so that they'll not be forced to sleep in their vehicles or doubled up with relatives or on the streets of our city tonight. Our families will have hot meals and warm beds. They'll have access to so much more as well. Parents will benefit from a multitude of supportive services to help them regain housing and return to self-sufficiency. And our children will have school supplies, clothes that make them feel confident in the classroom, and time in our Study Buddies program, where we have volunteers come into our shelter and provide customized tutoring services. We want our kids to not miss a beat in their educational journey. Every year, Volunteers of America helps nearly 100 families and more than 200 children in our community secure housing and get back on our feet. With this additional Unity House shelter, we can bring our services to even more families in the community. With this initial phase of our construction project underway, we know it will take some time before this resource is immediately available to our community. So what are we going to do? This winter season is right around the corner. Outside of this space, across the parking lot, is a building currently known as the Guest House. It will be converted into a temporary shelter during the hardest winter months that are right in front of us. It will accommodate families and kids during the construction of the renovations of Unity House. And we're going to keep you informed and updated as this particular part of the project progresses. And I want to invite you to visit our website, where we have a full landing page of details on the Community Care Campus at voamid.org. And I want to reiterate a sentiment that I've expressed on many occasions, and you heard this theme in the mayor's remarks as well. This is a collaborative process. In order to accomplish all that we've envisioned on this campus, and by the deadline we have set, which is 2027, where we will have final construction of 80 units of brand new affordable housing, it's going to require our entire community to come together and make the necessary investments. We know at VOA we cannot do this alone, and we are thrilled to be creating meaningful partnerships with other service providers, healthcare providers, law enforcement, the business community, and the philanthropic community. And I'm thankful that so many of you are with us this morning. I specifically need to thank again Mayor Greenberg and his amazing team, the Kentucky General Assembly for this extraordinary investment, Louisville Metro Council for supporting this project every step of the way, the Coalition for the Homeless, YMCA Safe Place, U of L Health, Family Health Centers, Norton Healthcare, Louisville Metro Police Department, and of course, again, Miranda Construction. Additionally, there is another community partner who could not join us this morning and who will be making a significant contribution to this project. To that end, this is the teaser. I want to invite you to join us next Wednesday at 9 a.m. at Metro Hall. Join Mayor Greenberg and me and this surprise guest who will be making this extraordinary commitment to this project. Now, as I close, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Thursday is Give for Good Louisville. We ask that you join our efforts and support our Unity House and support what we are going to accomplish on this campus. We have experienced the highest census we have ever had at our Unity House program these past several months. Today we have 90 individuals living with us, 31 adults, and 59 kids who are attending 23 different Jefferson County public schools. Think about the impact of our program holding space, creating community and home temporarily for 90 individuals who otherwise would be on our city streets. So Give for Good is a wonderful opportunity for our community to rally around these families and to show that we will come together to support them and more families like them that will access the community care campus. I absolutely know we can make this a signature public-private partnership that will become a national model. Together, we will absolutely do this. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for your support.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. You can tell with all of that going on why we're so excited about the future for the community care campus. Next, you're going to hear from some of the leaders of the General Assembly that I mentioned earlier. And first, I want to welcome our senator who's hosting us here today in his Senate district, someone who has been an advisor and a great partner to me since before I was elected mayor, someone who from our earliest conversations has encouraged me and our administration to focus on those who need support the most in our community and in our state, someone who cares so deeply about the lives of people here in Louisville and across our Commonwealth and has been dedicating his life to public service. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Gerald Neal.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate those kind words. I don't get them all the time. I just want to point out, this mayor, I have to say this. Every time I call, he responds immediately. Every time we put an issue on the table, he stands up. We have substantive exchanges, and lo and behold, I'm on something else, and something materializes. And I find my mayor's behind it. So let's give him a round of applause. And I'd be remiss if I didn't just point out just a absolutely clear fact. The leadership at VOA, Jennifer Hancock is an extraordinary leader. I'm here to say that. And I want to say that because I don't want anybody to miss the power that's come from the insight and the determination and the leadership she's provided to get to this spot right here today. So let's give her another round, please. I want to welcome my friends and colleagues from the General Assembly traveling so far. They've got my president there. He's another individual that has a ready ear, responds, is connected to the human condition. And I think that drives him tremendously in what he does and decisions he makes. I think it's important to acknowledge that, and I appreciate that leadership. And on top of that, we have someone who traveled so far. He gets the So Far Award. My colleague, Representative Rudy, is another individual who feels, he's all the way across, right, in the House. And yet I feel the rumblings of his movements and the sense of what he's trying to do in the community and across these communities. This is another individual who traveled so far to be with us today. Let's give him another round. So I'm not gonna go too much further, but if I don't say something about my friend here, I'm gonna really get messed up here. But I gotta say something here. This is one energetic, on the job, focused individual doing a great job in terms of leadership. Representative Rourke, please. So let me say that it's my pleasure to join everyone here. this is a great thing. This is a very great thing. Connecting these things. You know, you have a problem in terms of how people's lives are being impacted in the street, homelessness. You have that complicated by all kinds of dynamics, including, in some instances, mental health considerations. And there's so many facets to it, but this housing piece, to bring them together, put them in a safe environment, to have that holistic approach and that nurturing that comes with family and that holistic approach is just extraordinary. That's insightful, but only the collaboration, and in this case, I think the collaboration of individuals who are like mine on this particular subject has made this come about. So this collaboration should not be understated. It's very important. In fact, from the standpoint of the legislature, I find more and more of that happening now. I think that's very good. We're moving more and more in a bipartisan sense. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure some partisan stuff's coming. But I want to tell you, every opportunity that we get that something like this happens and bipartisan voices rise, leadership steps up, we come together to address problems, it heartens me, and I'm sure it heartens you as well. So I want to congratulate the Volunteers of America. I want to congratulate all that were involved in this. And I know the hard work's ahead, and it's it's going to be something we have to address going into the future. But I think it's very important. The funding from the General Assembly cannot be understated. It's key to this process as well. And I got to tell you, when you deal with 120 counties and you deal with 100 representatives and 38 senators, and all of us trying to do the best for their areas, when they can tune in on a location as central and essential as what we're doing here today, you got to say that that's leadership. So I appreciate that that's happened. I appreciate the fact that we're going to go forward in the future, and soon we're going to see the fruits of that effort and continuing efforts going into the future. So I want to thank all of you for coming. Thank you for listening, and thanks for all those who have contributed to this great, great success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Neal. As I mentioned before, and as you heard Senator Neal say, Leader Rudy wins the award for traveling the furthest distance. But he does that on a regular basis. We have a large state here in Kentucky, and it has been a pleasure to get to know Leader Rudy since I've become mayor over the last year and a half, to listen and understand issues in his district, hopefully explain some of the issues that we're dealing with in our district as well. And I think today is a great example of how through conversations with one another, that we can truly accomplish great things. And so I am so honored that we have the House Majority Floor Leader with us here today, someone who was a supporter of House Bill 1, someone who I am excited about how we can partner with in the future for his district, for our district, for all of Kentucky. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Leader Stephen Rudy.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an honor to be with you today. What is the guy from Paducah doing here? I asked myself that a lot. How did I even get invited? And then I went back to high school. Now, I live in Paducah now, but I was raised in Ballard County. I went to Ballard Memorial High School. Our athletic tradition at Ballard Memorial is not the greatest in the world. But right here in Louisville, there's a high school called Ballard as well. And your athletic tradition there is a little bit better than ours. And we oftentimes got invited to out-of-state tournaments to go and play basketball. And they thought they were inviting the wrong Ballard, but we'd sure go up there and have a good time. And I kind of thought maybe that's what happened again this morning. And while I was invited, it was the wrong Ballard. But it is truly an honor to be with you. The real reason I came is because I was scared to tell Jennifer Hancock no. But no, it was an exciting session. And Mayor, I hate to hear you say that there was still work to be done, because I really thought we had solved all the problems with House Bill 1. This session, actually, it was a phenomenal session of the General Assembly. A lot of things got accomplished that I never dreamed in the 20 years doing here that we would be able to do. We had significant one-time monies facing us in this budget session. And we did in the General Assembly what you would do in your household when you had one-time monies. We paid down debt. We didn't spend it all. We actually saved a lot. And then we made targeted investments. And that is very, very important. But some of the investments, and you heard about the money that we sent directly to Louisville for you guys to decide what best to do with that money, plus individual projects throughout this city and all of Jefferson County, many of which advocated for by my colleagues in the front row here, Representative Whitten and Representative Callaway, who do a great job for you as well from this entire city. Folks, we still have many problems, and I'm not naive to those problems. Mayor, you're spot on. There's still work to be done. I want you to know that there's always an open ear in the General Assembly. We will not be able to accomplish all the work that needs to be done and fix all the problems, but we're going to keep working on them, working on as many of them as we can. And I encourage you to do the same. Keep working, never lose sight of the vision, and never get tired of doing good. Thank you so much for including me today, and thank you for all your work, Mayor, and what you're doing to make Louisville a better place to live.
Thank you so much, Leader. I happen to be a proud alumni of Ballard High School, so I particularly enjoyed that story. And I do also want to give a shout out and a thanks to Representative Whitten and Representative Callaway. Thank you for your support of this legislation. Thanks for your partnership on other things that we are working on together for all of Louisville Metro government. And I'm also excited next to introduce another representative from South Louisville, like Representative Whitten and Representative Callaway, and that is Rachel Rourke. Rachel and I got to know each other several years ago, and her energy for this job, for public service, is contagious. We're thankful that you supported House Bill 1, and we thank you for being here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Representative Rachel Rourke.
Well, thank you all for being here today for this monumentous occasion. The Community Care Campus is truly a great step in addressing one of our most important issues, which is, of course, addressing the issue of homelessness. When I worked at Metro Council as a legislative aide, it was probably the #1 call that I would face on a day-to-day basis of what are we doing to get folks the housing that they need and the services that they deserve. And of course, what I learned over that course of time is that it takes a multifaceted solution to solving this great challenge. And we need every tool in our toolbox to be able to address the need that is so vast. And today, we're celebrating the Community Care Campus, which is a resource for all of Louisville, whether you're in East Louisville, South Louisville, downtown Louisville, or West Louisville. And it's not only about housing. It's about providing critical services in one place that truly wraps around an entire individual, young person, family, and sets them on a path to stable housing in the future. Because ultimately, what I've learned over my course of public service in the last 2 years in the General Assembly is that it's not enough to provide housing in a moment. Folks need support to be able to maintain that housing. And our great partners like the VOA are doing just that, helping us make sure that individuals are able to maintain and are set up on a path for success. So I want to say thank you to the VOA for being a strong partner, for stepping up to be a part of the solution. And I know that there are many partners in the room who are willing to step up and say, I'm willing to be the solution. And I also, of course, want to thank the mayor for his vision in using these dollars provided by the General Assembly, but not just the General Assembly, federal money as well from ARP dollars that we've gotten as well in the past. And it's that vision and leadership and support by the Metro Council that we've all come together to make this a reality. Ultimately, what I would like to end by saying is I'm so proud to see this improvement and this step forward. Filling this gap for our most vulnerable in our community will be felt on all corners of our city. And this is a critical step that we need this tool in our toolbox to getting one step closer to making sure that no Louisvillian, no citizen in this great country has to sleep on the streets. So thank you.
I want to take everyone back nearly 2 years ago, election night, November of 2022. I was celebrating my election as mayor of Louisville right on this stage in this building. And I'm pretty sure that our final speaker was not at that celebration. President Stivers and I are from different political parties. We have known each other for many years and had the opportunity, I had the good fortune to be able to work with him in the private sector before becoming mayor. But in the last year and a half as mayor, it has been a true honor to work closely with President Stivers, to get to know him better, to get to know Clay County and Eastern Kentucky better, to get to know more about to learn more about the Commonwealth through our conversations that we've had. And through those conversations, it has been clear. It has been clear that some of the challenges that we face in Kentucky, in Louisville, as well as the opportunities that we have here in the state's largest city, are similar to the challenges and opportunities that other parts of the states have as well. And through those common areas of interest, of opportunity, of solving challenges, we have been able to work closely together on so many different things, on things that have turned into great legislation and impactful investments like the $100 million of investing in downtown Louisville and the other hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that House Bill 1 supports for our city, as well as other things that might not make the headlines or might not ultimately be turned into legislations. President Stivers is someone who cares a lot about Louisville. He cares a lot about the entire state. And I'm excited about our continued partnership to work together, because my hope is that with announcements like this and our ability in Louisville to deliver on these projects, we are just getting started. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend, our President of the Senate, Robert Stivers.
Thank you, Mayor, and everyone on the podium. I was not at that celebration, just to make it clear. And to also make it clear, it wasn't the mayor's invitation that got me here. It was the threat from Jennifer Hancock. Let me start with a few things. First of all, to my good friend Gerald Neal, we've worked together a long time, and during this past session, we were able to talk about various things, and this was one of them. And through that, Gerald and I, even though of opposite parties, have always had a very good, respectful relationship. The same thing with my colleagues in the House. We've been able to have really good conversations about what needs to be done, where it needs to be done, when it needs to be done. And so this past year, we came into an extraordinary session, as Steve said, where we have been able to control and be responsible with our spending. We've been able to strategically appropriate things, where we've worked on a lot of different issues, and in that responsibility, able to make really strategic investments. And people are looking around saying, well, probably every state did that. No, they didn't. I've been around 28 years. I'm involved in virtually every professional association that you can have with legislatures. And I just came back about 3 weeks ago where the state of Maryland was having to figure out how they cut $1 billion in their budget. And so a lot of states didn't do responsible things to where we were able to have events like this. And so when you look at this and what goes on, and the mayor has talked about it, I want to go back till maybe 6 or 8 months after the mayor's election. I've talked about the communications with my colleagues in the House and the Senate, but there was an outreach by the mayor to say he wanted to discuss various things with us. He knew that he was going to come with a laundry list of items. He wouldn't get them all, that he knew that he would have to have some skin in the game. But we literally sat down one night, about 8 or 10 of us, at a mutual friend's house here in Louisville, and started discussing various issues that we needed to do. And throughout this process, we have continued to have these types of discussions. And so the mayor came with a list, and to me, we had part of this discussion. I can remember all the things he talked about, being the renovations of the Louisville Gardens, the Lou Med, the downtown Belvedere, the various renovations and conversion of empty lots and buildings into different style of commercial use or residential use to try to revitalize downtown Louisville, and the C3 campus. And in one of the discussions, it said, Mayor, look, and this is the type of discussions we had. People think, what happens in Frankfurt, the discussion and policy? I said, until you deal with the homeless issue, your city is not going to be able to be as attractive for things that it could be. And we went back and forth on this. And so right now, I'm going to stop and talk about the National Conference of State Legislators. You're all thinking, what does that have to do with it? Well, I see David Beck here. About a month ago, we were the host state and the host city for the National Conference of State Legislators. Close to 7,500 people came here from all 50 states, 6, I think, territories, and 15 nations came to Louisville. And they looked around and said, wow, this is impressive. I'm still getting notes today. Literally, I got in my office this morning and had a note from a legislator from Michigan that talked about the great time they had in Louisville. So why did I break right in the middle of this to talk about the NCSL? Well, for this city to be all it can be, you can have all the glitz and the glamour you want. You can have, and I believe they will, the mayor will make sure this happens, a great Belvedere, a great downtown from the purpose of being functional and aesthetically really good looking. But it's not going to be someplace that people want to go to if there's a large homeless population in and around the area. They don't feel safe. And so from a matter of economics and tourism, this needed to be the first project that got done. But let me tell you what I have seen, and I'm going to tie this up with the mayor and Jennifer Hancock, that we've kind of built some bridges between Southeast Kentucky and Louisville. And what we've seen are the same things the mayor has talked about, similar problem, access to education, access to public services, different types of infrastructure that needs to be built, addressing substance use disorder and families that are disjointed because of the scourge and intervention of drugs. It's no different here than it is back in my hometown, population 1,000. So I can talk about all the economics, I can talk about all the tourism, but let's talk about basic humanity. For we need to take care of those who most need help. And so when I was invited to come here and speak to this, in this city, that we are taking care of the most needy, it was not the mayor's invitation. It was not the threat from Jennifer Hancock. It was the reality that we are doing what we should do first, taking care of the most needy. And so to the individuals involved that made the decision to make this the priority of the $100 million we earmarked, let me congratulate you, not for prosperity, but taking care of the poor, the indigent, and the needy. So to you, Mayor, the City Council, and all those involved, thank you and congratulations. And if we don't do things like this, the state, as Louisville, the leading point of our state and our economy and population, we will not thrive. For our state motto says it best: united we stand, and divided we fall. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, President Stivers. And before we take some questions, one final note. As President Stivers concluded, the reason we're creating this campus is to make it easier and improved process for people who are experiencing homelessness to get connected with the resources and services they need, to get off the streets, to get healthy, to find housing, and get on with building a new life for themselves and their family. That benefits each and every one of them, and that benefits all of us in Louisville and Kentucky. Homelessness touches so many other areas of importance to us, so many other priorities like public safety, public health, quality of life, and more, including our economy and our ability at city government to do what we want to do. For example, in 2023, close to 15% of all Louisville Fire Department runs involved encampments or interactions with people experiencing homelessness. We are committed to reducing that. And reducing that will help the individuals whose lives are not in danger. And reducing that will also save our city millions of dollars that we can in turn invest in other needed things like more services and shelter. And this campus is also designed to reduce the burden that's felt by so many of our nonprofit partners who are doing such important work, yet every day are struggling to meet the demands for their services. And so the good that is going to be done right here on the community campus, it's going to be good for Smoketown with the leadership and operational support of Volunteers of America. It's going to be great for downtown Louisville. It's going to be great for our entire city and our entire Commonwealth in so many ways. As Jennifer talked about, the total estimated cost of this project is about $58 million. And much of that, as you've heard today, will come originally from the state government. But we need more help. And so we want to encourage other private sector partners from across the city. If they are interested in supporting this work, please reach out to Jennifer and her team at the Community Care Campus. There is always opportunities for more investment here at the Community Care Campus and in our other nonprofit agencies that are doing such important work. We're excited to provide more updates as soon as next week on other things relating to this, and we're even more excited for the doors here to be reopened to support individuals who are in need throughout our entire city. Thank you to our friends from the General Assembly. Thank you to my colleagues on Metro Council, everyone in Louisville Metro government, and from across the entire city that joins with us in partnership to help those who are in need. Thank you all very much, and we're happy to take any questions. Are there any questions from members of the media?
People who are homeless don't necessarily want help. What are you going to do to help outreach to them and get them to the shelter?
So as I mentioned earlier, I'm proud that our Homeless Services Division is now fully staffed and fully funded. And we respond to calls that are reported into us within one day. And our hope is that when we do make that outreach, that even if they may not be ready to go into a shelter or go into a place undercover, that they'd be willing to accept some services as the first step towards getting their life in a new direction. Yes, Eleanor.
Mayor, the DOJ recently released a report that said a lack of community-based health services in Louisville has caused, at least first responders to mental health crises and has led to how do you ensure that the LMPD office within the community care campus does not contribute to this trend?
So a few things. First of all, that DOJ report that you're referring to was with respect to the state's offices. That was not related to anything with Metro government. In fact, I believe that same DOJ report complimented Louisville Metro government on some of the initiatives that we are expanding. For example, our deflection program, where we're working where if individuals call 911 with not a violent crime emergency, but a mental health crisis, that we have trained mental health professionals from 7 counties that can respond to that, a program that we've expanded in the past year and a half to now be 24/7 for the entire city. Working with Chief Humphrey and LMPD, we are committed to working with the community. Every day improving what LMPD does, what Louisville Metro government does to make LMPD the best trained, the most trusted, and the most transparent police department in our country. The way we do that is working with community. And so it's a wonderful opportunity for LMPD to be housed here on the community care campus, so that LMPD can develop stronger relationships with nonprofit partners like VOA and other nonprofit partners that will be working on this site, but also to build relationships with individuals themselves, to show that we are policing in a new way in this city, that we are working to support individuals to make everyone's life safer, so that everyone feels safe and is safe in every neighborhood in our city. You guys can feel free to chime in on any one of these.
I have something to
Okay,
say on
please
this
do,
point.
Jen.
I have nothing but praise and gratitude for the current leadership of LMPD and the team that is here today and others who could not be with us. They have been a part of every planning and design meeting we've had to construct a campus that is safe for all parties who will be housed here and work here. In addition to that, we hosted 2 community town hall meetings in this space several months ago and invited all Smoketown residents and surrounding neighborhoods to come out, hear the message and the vision of what we hope to accomplish here. And the 4th Division resource officers, both of whom are here, Vaughn Brannick and Nate Richardson, were in the room that night, and they took some of these same questions. And I really appreciated the professional and respectful way that they engaged in the dialogue. This is a different way of bringing community together. So while I appreciate the question, I want to be very clear that this partnership is strong. It is about building relationships. It is not built on a premise of enforcement. Now, if that has to happen, of course, we need them to do their jobs, but there is so much upside to having them be part of the community that we are going to create here.
Thanks, Jennifer. Yes.
Mayor, I wanted to ask in regards to this campus is for families, of course. Is it also going to include men and women in the entire family, or
Yes.
what about single men with children as well?
The priority, and this is truly based on data, we work closely with Natalie Harris. I see Marcus Stubbs is here from the Coalition for the Homeless to ensure that we were tracking the data and solving for the greatest problem. And the greatest problem today is the number of families who are unhoused, who are on a waiting list. When we have 90 people living with us and we have very little turnover because we're a long-term program, because we're digging at the root cause. That's why we had to prioritize the capacity for homeless families. There will be transitional housing for young adults, both male and female, that YMCA Safe Place will do on the campus. We'll have other transitional housing for women exiting our Freedom House program. That's for women and their children. And we'll continue to respond to the needs. We have a meeting scheduled next week with the Louisville Metro Police Department, U of L Health, and some other partners to address this recent finding from the DOJ in terms of how we can better community solve for individuals who are in a state of distress from a behavioral health illness rather than looking to institutions to care for them. So we're going to continue to respond to the data and the needs as we continue to evolve this project.
And I wanted to follow up on that in regards to single men that we do see in the downtown area. Any future plans for them specifically?
Not today, but what I can tell you is that we are also planning for an emergency or crisis service for individuals, both men and women, on our street corners who are in a state of distress, so that LMPD or other partners can bring them to the campus. They could have immediate access to assessment, triage, and referral into the service that's best suited for them.
And just to add one last thing to that, the community care campus and the services that are provided here, this is not the only thing that Louisville Metro government is to address the complex challenges of supporting those who are in need. As I mentioned earlier on, there's not one solution, there's not one answer, and so we have to do a lot, and we are. There are a lot of other great nonprofit partners that are doing incredibly important and impactful work all across our city, here in and around downtown, in South Louisville, and other parts of our community. And Louisville Metro government will continue to support those other agencies that are that are targeted towards different populations that might be here on the community care campus.
I think you mentioned the emergency shelter being open before some of the harsher winter months. Can you talk about, give any more of a firm date on that, or I guess the time range maybe that happens?
We'll get the details to you after this. I need to check with my colleagues at RCS on those exact details. Yes.
I'm aware that shelters are pretty centralized, and they have also, in terms of locations, they also have stringent check-in times. There's also day shelters that are available. And I'm wondering if there is a recognition of needing more shelters in locations across Louisville as opposed to certain centralized locations. Is there a plan for that? Because I also understand the Office of Planning is trying to find ways to look at its land development board to make sure there are other areas that are available for shelters to be built there that aren't residential or commercial zoning. Wondering if there's a recognition of that need as well.
Yes. We don't think that we should concentrate all of the services and shelter in one location, in one neighborhood. There are challenges across the entire city, across the entire state, and we need to provide additional services and shelter in other areas. I do think it's also important to note there are shelter beds available every night. Now, not everybody might not like the rules or requirements to have access to those shelter beds, but every night in Louisville, there are beds available. Yes.
Do you have an estimate of how many families might be able to get service at the temporary shelter? Any number of how many you're expecting?
We are preparing for 15 to 20 families to be temporary housed on the campus during this winter season.
And that's just for families, not individuals?
Correct.
Is there anything that individuals can do between now and then if they do need a bed, if they do need a place to stay?
They would continue to go through the current process, the common assessment that is provided by the Coalition for the Homeless.
Yeah, sure, please.
I wasn't going to respond to this, but this is a response to the DOJ report, but it is not in response to the DOJ report. This discussion about the C3 campus was being discussed over a year ago, because that was one of the first things in the initial meeting with the mayor that he talked about, dealing with the homelessness issue and how, not in specific, but the need. So it is a response, but not necessarily in response. This was in the works well before that DOJ report came out.
One more question, and I've got one final announcement. Is there someone else who hasn't asked a question yet? All right.
In regards to last year, you said hoping to get something like this done by the end of 2023. Now we're looking at 2024. What makes you so confident that this will be done by the end of this year?
Well, work has now begun, and so that's always a good sign. I know the great work that Miranda Construction has done across our community in many projects, and certainly every project has its challenges. There are often delays, but work has now begun, and so you're going to start seeing progress being made. There's no one who is more impatient than me to have this project complete, to have all the projects that are part of the funding from the General Assembly and everything else that Louisville Metro government is doing. We've got great folks that are working on this, great project managers, owners, reps, partners from the city, from Miranda, from VOA, and so we've got people that are working every day to make it get done as quick as possible. So thank you all very much. I've got one final unrelated announcement since we've got this amazing large group of media together. I think this will be a personnel announcement that you all are very interested in. And that is, I'm thrilled to announce that starting on Monday, September 16th, my administration will be welcoming a new communications director to work closely with our other great colleagues that we have, Kevin and Casey and others Jody, who are here with us today, and others. She is someone who might be known to many of you because she has worked in Louisville Metro government before. Allison Martin grew up in Louisville. She went to Northwestern University. She then worked for Mayor Abramson in the communications department before becoming the communications director for Attorney General Conway. And then she moved into the private sector, where she worked closely with the great colleagues in the great local company that we have here, GE Appliances. She is passionate about Louisville. She is excited about the priorities of our administration. She knows many of our colleagues throughout Louisville Metro government well. She was here. I hope we didn't scare her off and she didn't leave. But so please join me. Are you here? Oh, there she is. So please join me in welcoming our new communications director, Allison Martin. If you want to say a few words,
I'll be quick because it is a joy to be with you this morning. Thank you so much to Mayor Greenberg for the opportunity to serve a city that I love so very much. You know, there's a saying that says, what do people in Louisville call people out in the state? And that's mom and dad. So that's the case for me. So I grew up in Glasgow, Kentucky originally. And part of the reason why I'm here today is the mom and dad that I had. So my dad was a longtime public servant, county judge executive for many years in Glasgow. My mom, late mother, was a public school teacher, and they believed in the power of how government could come together and help people. And they believed in the value of all people. And that is the reason why I'm here today, because I believe and I know that Mayor Greenberg shares those same priorities. And I am so thrilled to have this announcement be at this place and this time today, because I think it really showcases the best of who we are in Louisville, the best of what can happen when all of us come together from the public sector, the private sector, nonprofit, from across the state with our great partners, to say how we can put our best foot forward and lead. And I know that's the kind of administration that Mayor Greenberg is leading and building here in Louisville, and has a tremendous team around him. I'm so thrilled to be able to work with Kevin and Casey and Jody and the rest of the communications team. And he has put together an incredible staff, and let's get to work.
Thank you so much, Allison. You'll have plenty of opportunities to speak with Allison over the coming weeks. And thanks again for joining us. We're so excited about the future.
Nice to meet you. And if I know you were coming,